Okay, this is a redo of the audio, The 10 Steps to Get Your Book Published. Now, the original audio was very bad. Very bad. And I skipped steps on top of it because I was just not good at this. So before we really deep dive into this, thank you to the patrons, the subscribers, you the lovely viewers, and the editor as always. Yeah, I guess there's no other way really to start this than to just be completely honest and focus. So, here are the 10 steps to get your book published. Number 1, write your book. That has not changed. When I mean write your book, a lot of people are like, I don't know how to write a book. I'm a fan fiction writer. Or, I don't know how to write a book. I like reading stuff. I don't know how to do that. Believe it or not, you are actually really creative. Fan fiction is a really good way to start your journey on writing. Because writing is basically, you have to have an idea, you have to have characters, a backdrop, conflict, resolution, and being able to continue and contain that story from beginning to end in an engaging manner. Some people don't have that skill set automatically, but fan fiction is a good way to start, is because they've given you the characters, the backdrop, and you can make up your own conflicts, and you can get to your point easier. I'm not saying everybody starts out as a fan fiction writer. I am just saying that fan fiction writing is a very good, starting base for you to begin your writing journey if you don't already like writing in general. I'll be completely honest, I was a fan fiction writer. No, I will not link any of my stuff. It was actually #terrible, and we're just gonna let it die there. Just right there. We're gonna let it go. It can't be a thing. It can't. I've moved on from that writing. It was rough, and I'm glad I've moved on from it because I've gotten better at writing. But damn, I don't want anybody to see my terrible former writing skills. Maybe when I'm older, maybe I'll be more confident, but right now, no, that's okay. Step 1 is write a book. That's it. That's the first step in this. You actually gotta write. Step 2 has not really changed. It is still cry. But I feel like step 2 also belongs in step 1 is because you're gonna cry a lot. Because writing, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And just because some people can do it does not mean they do it well. They don't. Some people, their fanfiction writing is very, very bad. Very beginner. But that is okay. It doesn't mean that what they are writing is bad, it just means that they are beginner writers, and it hurts your eyes to read it because it's just a wall of text. Again, crying is natural when writing. That is step technically 1.5 and 2, so that's really important. Step 3, you're gonna have to rewrite your book. This step will be performed at least 4 to 5 different times as you grow as a writer. Because every time you rewrite the book, you have to give it to somebody. And whoever you give it to can't be your friend. It has to be just some random person so they can rip it apart so you can grow. Believe it or not, it's the reason why when you pull weeds, they keep coming back stronger, is because you pulling them out is making them grow better, even though it probably hurts them to be yanked out. Be a weed. Keep coming back, but get better each time you do it. Take the criticism, good, bad, and indifferent, and learn from it. Realistically, that's the best thing you can do. Step number 4. You have to get to a point where you actually feel confident enough to actually give your book to what is called a developmental editor. Now, this is the part where I'm about to just preach to you. My friend Shanna, who wrote a book, I will just put it up there on the screen for you. Please go check it out. It's a middle grade book, so, none of us have gotten past middle school. Do what you will. But she wrote a middle grade book, and when I heard about that, I was really excited for her, and I asked her point blank, oh man, that's dope. What literary agent did you get? And she told me she self-published using a service called Tally Inc. Tally Inc. is basically it's not a vanity house. That's not really what it is. It's a hybrid publisher. Basically, they help you self-publish in the hopes that a literary agent or publishing house will see your work and pick you up. Now, I cannot speak for the others who are also part of the Tally Inc. service, but I can say that they have gotten pretty good success stories from it. They go to conferences and everything. When I am recording this as of now, my book is still with the editor, who is still picking it apart and just destroying it, which is good because that's a different step. But right now, developmental editing means that this person is going to read your book, make very, very concise reasons for why you need to change things up, and for why you need to just outright omit stuff because it has absolutely nothing to do with the plot. It's basically to help you slim down your story in a way that is palatable to the masses. I don't want my story to be palatable to the masses. I want it to be mine. You want to get it published, you want it out there and people to like it. There are some consensus you're gonna have to make absolutely on your book. It's not to say that you are a bad writer. It is to say that writing has to appeal to people. Even if you make it shine like a diamond, people will still find fault with it. Not everybody is going to like your book because it's just not particularly their jam. That doesn't make you a bad writer. It just means they don't like those particular stories. That has to be something you keep in the back of your mind always. What step are we on? We're on step number 5. Step number 5 is very important. Once the developmental editing is done, then you actually have to give it to an editor. An editor is an entirely different monster than a developmental editor. The developmental editor is trying to get you to get your book slimmed down and palatable. An editor is going to rip this thing apart and then edit it and make it look really nice. Editors take about 4 to 6 weeks to do their stuff, if not longer, because they are trying to make sure that it is very, very clean for the next step that we have to get to, but right now we're going to stay here. Editors basically read it, they read it again, they read it a third time for good measure, they edit it, they describe to you what they edited and why, they give it back to you, you make the edits as is recommended unless you are just willing to die on this hill, in which case you have to explain to them why you are willing to die on this hill, and if they say no, that's dumb, you have to find a way to still put it in there because they are going to nitpick the shit out of it. Editors are very, very concise people. Think of these people like they have like the extreme Starbucks order that is very, very precise, but damn if you can't remember it because it's so many steps. Think of an editor like that. Their coffee is delicious, but it takes a lot to get it there. That's what an editor does. On to the next phase. Step 6. Step 6 is this. Step 6 is now the most important step, getting your self-publishing journey. Step 6 is actually getting a Library of Congress number. A Library of Congress number is the legit bitch sticker. Basically, it means your book is now officially in the Library of Congress. Insert drumroll, whatever here. This means specifically that because the Library of Congress number is so important, this is probably the step that's maybe going to take the longest, depending on how thick your book is and how fast they're willing to process stuff. I know Shanna said that it was easy and quick for her, but again, Shanna's book was a middle grade book, therefore, not as many words. I am not saying it is based on word count, I am saying it is based on how fast these bitches want to get their stuff done. Library of Congress number is very important. Copyright you can get later, but Library of Congress first, because it's very, very, very important. During all of this, though, while all of this is going on, you need to actually establish a fan base for your work. You need to actually establish a social media platform on which to speak, so that way people know what you're doing, so that way when you actually publish your book, people give a crap about what you're doing, because word of mouth is powerful. You have to be able to establish a actual website, number one, so that way you can actually give out newsletters to people that are subscribed to that website, so that way they know what's going on with you, so they're not left in the dark. And on top of it, between the social media presence, the website, and also being able to talk about your book, you need to be able to cultivate relationships with other people who have also been successful in the self-publishing industry, so that way you may bring them onto your social media so that way you may bring them onto your social media platform, so that way they can talk about their books, you can talk about your book, and you guys can talk about books in general together to drum up more interest. It's all connected. While you're trying to get your Library of Congress number, now is a great time to actually try and go find somebody who can make you an appealing book cover. Now, Tally Inc., which is the service I use, for the record, in recording this audio, used because I'm still in the middle of getting the book published. They give you this offer of the editor and also somebody who will make you a fancy, handy-dandy, sneechy book cover. Because book covers are very personalized and all that other stuff, your book publisher is going to talk to you a lot. Like a lot. I would recommend talking to the book publisher while you're talking to the editor, so that way everything kind of comes in all at once, maybe a little bit sooner for some things versus others, but the fact that you are all connected works better, and I promise it does help when getting your stuff done. Step number 8. IngramSpark is your best friend. And I mean this is because Amazon, if you decide to self-publish there, will cock-block you hard. They won't let you publish anywhere else. It'll be an Amazon exclusive only. IngramSpark is basically, they take their little pound of flesh, but they're not going to gut you like Amazon will. And if anybody wants to buy the book, i.e. Amazon, they have to go through Ingram in order to do so. Because it is not an Amazon exclusive, they don't retain all of the rights and everything else. IngramSpark is very important to this grand debacle that you have to go through. Step number 9 is very important. During all of this, once you're in the middle of developmental edits, right? Developmental edits. You have to actually start looking for beta readers. Beta readers are going to be your best friend because beta readers are going to be the people that actually can tell you, hey, I liked this was weird. Hey, this sucks, this didn't. Hey, this was a really cool book, I like it. Beta readers are going to be the people that get your business going because they're going to hype up your book to other people because they got to read it first. It is also very important that beta readers get first dibs on the books because they were the ones that helped you on the journey, so they get first dibs before anybody else. Whether or not you want to make it free, completely up to you. Me personally, I know when I am done everything, my beta readers are going to get a free copy sent to them because it's a nice thank you. And also I can spare the cash because of my job. Realistically, that's the only reason why. Celestial knows what I'm talking about, so it's going to be fun to get that over to him. The final step in all of this, it is a time-consuming process to write. As in, your brain will think up 100,000 things to shove into this book, which is great, but not everything that you think up for the book should go into the book. You also have to remember that while you are writing, you are basically the deity in this universe. You are making all of this up as you go along. Meaning 2 things. 1, continuity is very important. You have to remember stuff you've already written so that way you can go back, double check that it's still correct in the universe you are writing. And number 2, you have to make sure that if you continue the book series, as in it's more than one book, it follows in the same timeline, the same tense, the same energy as the first book. Because if it doesn't, if it suddenly just goes hog wild off the rails, your readers are going to be like, huh? So, if it's going to be a series, great. Continuity is your friend. Please remember to check your continuity. I know for me, tenses when I am writing, right? I am bad at tenses. So, when I get the drafts and everything else, like the one beta reader, whose name I will not name, but I will plug their gamer tag, Requiem. She has been reading this, and she has been brutally honest about my tenses. So she has just been, this needs to be this needs to be this needs to add a comma here. Which I laughed, I was like, the editor is literally in the middle of doing this. She goes, I'm still gonna tell you stuff. Which is important. Your beta readers should at most be able to speak directly to you about the stuff that they see, stuff that they like, and everything else, because it is very important that they know what's going on. Not to say that it's a bad thing if they're going to nitpick the hell out of it. Like, if they're just going to nitpick, like, I personally don't think that this character should be this race because that doesn't jive with me, that's great. When you write your book, you can do whatever the hell you want. It works in my book, and I'm not going to change it. Don't let them steamroll you into changing things you don't want to change. That's really it. Let's see. Is there anything else that I might have missed on this list? No. There's nothing that I've missed on this list. At least I hope not. So, thank you so much for showing up. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I hope this has been a wonderful wealth of information. Bye!